Laker fans, welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports, and today we've got a great show for you. I've got a couple trade rumors, I've got some news, and I've got some other pieces of information on the Los Angeles Lakers. But before I get into that, I want to see just how many of you are ready for some real Lakers basketball. The Lakers take on the Clippers this Thursday night in Orlando, Florida, in the bubble. So if you're ready, I want you to scroll down, I want you to hit that thumbs up and give this video a like. That way we can really tell just how much of Laker Nation is ready to go for the season. Now, one guy who's 100% ready to go is Anthony Davis. And according to Brian Windhorst, the Lakers will have absolutely no problem giving him a max contract this summer. Now, that was never really in the question. There was never really a question mark about whether or not the Lakers were willing to give Anthony Davis a max contract because, let's face it, top 6 player, top 5 player in the NBA, defensive player of the year, and he's hitting the open market. You're going to want to pay him what he deserves. The only question was, with all this Corona mess, were the Lakers going to be able to pay him the max with everything going on? Well, turns out everything's going to be just fine. The Lakers are going to give him all the money that he needs. This year, his numbers really just speak for himself. 26.7 points per game with 9.5 rebounds. He's also creating pretty well for a big man at 3 assists per game and one of the league leaders in blocking shots at 2.4 per game. Now, with Anthony Davis hitting the open market and the Lakers undoubtedly giving him a max contract offer, it raises some questions about some of the other free agents the Lakers are going to have. AD has that player option, which we know he's going to opt out of. But KCP, Avery Bradley, JaVale McGee, those are all 3 important pieces to this Lakers team that also have player options, along with Rajon Rondo, who at this point I would expect him to pick that option up with the broken thumb and not being able to play as much in Orlando. There's definitely some question marks about his future in the NBA. Then you look at the unrestricted guys that the Lakers have that will hit the open market. Dwight Howard, the best backup big man in the league this year, is going to hit as an unrestricted free agent, hit the open market. Jared Dudley, don't expect him back in a Laker uniform, but he'll be a free agent. Markieff Morris, in his really half season with the Lakers, will be a free agent. Same with Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith, who's not on this list, but Kostas Antetokounmpo, a restricted free agent this summer. Now, this is exactly what ESPN had to say about Anthony Davis re-signing for that max contract. They said the Lakers, however, still likely will have no issues in re-signing their star, Anthony Davis, as their local television deal brings them around $200 million annually. Added with their national television share, the Lakers could bring in more than $300 million, even if they don't sell a single ticket. So if there's no basketball on and the Lakers have some questions about the cap, well, the Lakers aren't going to have questions about the cap because that TV deal brings in so much money for them. They are willing and able to pay Anthony Davis that max contract. But they can offer him all the money in the world. In fact, they could really give him that max deal and make him the star for the future. But will Anthony Davis actually re-sign, or is he going to leave Laker Nation? So I want you guys to scroll down to the comment section below and vote on this. Will AD leave if the Lakers don't win the title this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably going to get hit with an ad break, so this is a perfect time to scroll down and reply to that pinned comment. Now let's talk about Dennis Schroder, a guy who actually the Lakers made a call about during the NBA trade deadline. Could he be a Laker this offseason? According to Fansided, the Lakers could look to swap Danny Green for Dennis Schroder of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Schroder has been a monster off the bench for the Thunder. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They've got Chris Paul. But really, Billy Donovan is willing to play a 3-guard lineup with the amount of production that Dennis Schroder brings to the team, and that's what he's done. But now the Lakers could regain some interest in Schroder as they need some help at the point guard position this offseason. So I'll talk a little bit more about what a trade might look like here in a minute, but I want to tell you about our awesome deal today on these Lakers face masks. Go to chatsports.com/LakersMask, and you can get yourself a Lakers face covering. You can get that logo right on your face all the time. Keep yourself safe and healthy in this crazy time. Now, we all know the NBA bubble is working, and a big part of that is the fact that they're wearing these masks. And the best way you can get one, just like all the players in Orlando have, chatsports.com/NBA mask. Whether you want one or as many as 4, you can go get one at chatsports.com/LakersMask. Thanks to our friends over at Fanatics. It's a great deal. Go get yourself one today. Now we'll keep talking about Dennis Schroder here and a potential trade for him, what the Lakers might look like. This is what Fansided proposed. They said the Lakers get Schroder straight up, no picks, no money, just the point guard. And the Thunder get Danny Green and the Lakers' 2020 first-round pick. Now, because of the Stepien rule, the Lakers won't be able to trade that pick until draft night or after draft night. So they would, hypothetically speaking, make that pick for the Thunder. They'd give up Danny Green. but they'd get Dennis Schroder back. And when you put them side by side, it's not really comparable who the better player has been this year. Danny Green, look, he's been solid for the Lakers. He's been a good shooter, but he's been a bit of a letdown compared to his Toronto season. He's been putting up 8 points per game, 3 rebounds, shooting better than 37% from 3. Dennis Schroder, on the other hand, a 19-point-per-game scorer off the bench with 4 assists and 4 rebounds, and a better shooter this year than Danny Green at 38.1% from beyond the three-point arc. So you put it side by side, there's really no comparison who I'd rather have on this Laker team. It's Dennis Schroder. And you put him in there, and he can immediately become the starting point guard for the Lakers and kind of take some of that playmaking responsibility off of LeBron James' shoulders. So you put KCP in the starting 5 now alongside Schroder because Danny Green is gone. And then you got LeBron, AD, JaVale McGee. You've got 3 guys in there that on any given night can give you 20 points. That's LeBron. That's AD. Or whether it's Dennis Schroder, he can become a true third option for this Lakers team. And I think it's a great deal for the Lakers. Yeah, you're giving up a first-round pick, but that's going to be at the very end of the first round. And you're giving up Danny Green, who was a solid signee, but it might make some sense on both sides because the Thunder needs shooting and the Lakers need a point guard. So maybe, just maybe, this makes some sense, but who would you rather have on this Lakers team? Not just in general, but for the Lakers specifically. If you'd rather have Danny Green, scroll down to the comment section and type G. If you want that point guard, type S for Dennis Schroder. I'm typing my S for Dennis Schroder here. You're on Chat Sports and on the Lakers Report. We love to interact with you guys in the comment section, so go make your votes and make your voice heard. Now let's talk about Bubble Cheese, a.k.a. Dion Waiters. He proved that he can actually be an impact player off the bench for the Lakers. In fact, those scrimmages, he looked really, really good. And it was something that, honestly, I'll admit right now, I didn't expect. I had zero expectations for Dion Waiters on this team. He comes into the scrimmages and immediately makes a difference. He's also got the best nickname on the team now. Bubble Cheese? Are you kidding me? That's incredible. I'm going to call him that all year long and for as long as he's with the Los Angeles Lakers. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it a tradition here on the Lakers Report. Anytime I start talking about Dion Waiters, a.k.a. Bubble Cheese, I want you to scroll on down to the comment section and put that cheese emoji down there because that's who he is now. It's Bubble Cheese. That's the only way we're going to refer to him. I'm not even going to call him Dion Waiters anymore. It's just straight up Bubble Cheese. Now let's keep talking about how good he was in those scrimmages because he impressed me quite a bit. Again, I said it. No expectations for me, and he came in and blew me out of the water. Now, the Mavs, he only played 13 minutes, but he scored 9 points and pulled down 3 rebounds. The Orlando Magic, against the Orlando Magic, his minutes went up a little bit, and so did his production. 12 points and 3 rebounds and 1 assist once again. But where he really shined, where Bubble Cheese really came out to play, was against the Washington Wizards. He scored 18 points, he pulled down 3 rebounds, and he was creating well for his teammates with 6 assists, something that Dion Waiters has never been known to do. He came in and he played his role perfectly. He gave you buckets off the bench. Now, he played about 25 minutes in that game. That's not going to be normal for him, but it was still a very solid production. But the other guy who came in and made a big difference for the Lakers in those scrimmages was J.R. Smith, and we're going to talk about him here for a little bit as well because in scrimmage play, he made some really tough shots, and his three-point jumper did not show any signs of declining. In fact, he looked really, really strong in those games. Really, all 3 of them, he was okay in the first 2 against the Mavs and the Magic, but the game where he came out to play was, again, against the Washington Wizards. Now, it was the final scrimmage game for the Lakers. They got a W without LeBron, without Kyle Kuzma, without Dwight Howard, without Anthony Davis, largely in part because J.R. Smith scored 20 points, he pulled down 5 boards, and he went 6 of 7 from beyond the three-point arc. Now, again, with J.R. Smith, he's not going to be playing 25 minutes a night, but in scrimmage play, it looks really, really solid. So with this Lakers bench now, they've gone from a team who really their biggest question mark was depth to a team where depth could be a strength for them. They've got Kyle Kuzma, who on any given night can give you 15 to 20 points. You've got Markieff Morris, who's a stretch 4 and looked solid in that one game that he played against the Wizards, and although it was only 6 minutes. Alex Caruso showed that he's an important piece to this team. Great defensively. He scored a bunch of points, 17 points in that last scrimmage. And then you got Dwight Howard, the best backup big man in the league. And now Dion Waiters becomes a weapon. J.R. Smith becomes a weapon. Quinn Cook showed that he can still produce off the bench. And then you look at those end-of-the-bench guys like Talen Horton-Tucker, Jared Dudley, and yeah, I included him here, Devontae Cacok, after that incredible double-double performance in the scrimmage. This is a fun team. This is a fun bench, and a bench that can make a difference when your stars like AD and LeBron James are down or they're tired, they need a little bit of a rest. You put in J.R. Smith, you put on Dion Waiters and Dwight Howard and Alex Caruso. Those guys can go out and give you a bucket and get you stops. as well. So which player on that Lakers bench, I showed you really the 10 deep. I didn't show you Kostas Antetokounmpo, but he's in the mix there as well. Which bench player are you most excited about in the bubble? I think for me, it's probably still Dwight Howard or Kyle Kuzma. They're still the best bench players, but you can't really go without talking about the Caruso. I mean, he's one of the most exciting bench players in the NBA as a whole. But for you guys, for the Laker fans watching, who excites you the most? Let me know in the comment section. Now, before I get into my final story, which you're going to want to stay tuned for because, trust me, it's a blockbuster trade, go check out chatsports.com/LakersMask and our friends over at Fanatics hooking you up with these team custom face masks to keep yourself safe and healthy and make sure we get sports back in our lives, because that's how you can do your part, is just by wearing a simple face mask. No matter how many you want, maybe you just want one for yourself, 2 for you and a significant other, 3 for some family, or 4 for family and friends. However many you need, Fanatics has got you covered at chatsports.com/LakersMask. So this final story, this final rumor, is one that is really just going to blow some Laker fans away. Could the Lakers trade for Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers? According to Fadeaway World, they're saying, hey, if Damian Lillard doesn't make the playoffs this year, if he becomes disgruntled and unhappy in Portland, the team he could probably force his trade to is the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Damian Lillard over and time again has said, I'm staying in Portland. I want to be Portland's version of Dirk Nowitzki, and I want to stay here no matter what through the ups and the downs. But how much can a player really take when, some of your best players are Hassan Whiteside and Carmelo Anthony? Well, this year, Damian Lillard has scored 28 points per game, 4 rebounds, dishing out 8 assists, and he's shooting better than 39% from 3. And a lot of people are saying he's a top 5 MVP candidate. Now, I completely disagree with that statement for one simple reason. His team's not in the playoffs. And if your team's not in the playoffs, to me, you cannot be a top 5 MVP candidate. But maybe you disagree. So before we talk more about Damian Lillard and what a trade might look like to the Los Angeles Lakers, I want to ask you guys to go ahead and make your voice heard. Who are your top 5 MVP candidates this year? Now, I did it on our main channel. I mentioned who I think the MVP of the league is. My top 5 is some mixture of Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, and then I've also got Anthony Davis up there as well, and James Harden of the Houston Rockets. Now, that's 6, but who are your top 5? Let me know in the comment section. Let's talk about what a trade's going to look like, because that's what you guys are here for. Damian Lillard to the Lakers in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, Quinn Cook, and not 1, but 2 first-round picks. Now, that's a lot of moving parts, but when you're getting an MVP caliber player in Damian Lillard, that is more than worth it if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I didn't come up with this trade. This was according to Gus Martin of Fadeaway World, and here's what he said about Damian Lillard. Lillard doesn't want to leave Portland as of now, but everyone knows LeBron James tends to recruit players when the opportunity arises. If the Trailblazers falter once again in the postseason or don't even make the playoffs, Lillard could be convinced that he wants a new opportunity. And if that happens, if Damian Lillard says, hey, trade me to the Los Angeles Lakers, here's your new starting 5 in LA. Now, that's, of course, assuming KCP opts in and JaVale McGee stays, and same with Anthony Davis. But now you got Damian Lillard, KCP, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and JaVale McGee. Earlier, we talked about how you get Dennis Schroder in there, and you've got 20 points per game on any given night from three different guys. When you got Dame, LeBron, and AD, you've got 3 guys that can give you 25-plus points per game on any single night. So a pretty crazy trade idea. Let me know who says no in the comment section, but I think the Lakers have got to say yes to this one. So, Laker fans, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.